I got to share this heartwarming story, you guys. I've never told anybody about this, right? But it's a heartwarming story, you guys. And I was just thinking about it right now, and I said, damn, I got to share this. So I'm going to say about 10 years ago, I was doing Uber part-time. I had my dog business, and then I was doing Uber, right? So anyway, I had just dropped someone off by USC, the university. I had just dropped someone off there. It was at about 11:30 p.m. at night, right? And after I dropped them off, I was driving down this street, real dark street, and I saw this old dog, like looked like it was I'm gonna say a Maltese or something else, right? But it crossed right in front of me, and I braked. I said, "Oh shit!" And I got out the car, and then I went up to the dog, and I looked at it. It was very old, and I said, "Man, this dog probably, got dumped or something like that, right?" So, first thing I thought was, "It's 11:30 at night. Why is this dog out? It's old." So I picked it up, put it in my car, went home. I closed shift, wasn't doing any more driving. Went home, and I sat this dog on my couch, and I started looking at this dog, and I noticed the dog was blind, right? Completely blind. I was putting stuff in the face and just couldn't see it. It was completely blind, right? And it kept trying to wander off the couch and walk around and kept stopping and stuff like that, right? So I didn't pay it no mind, right? So it finally went to sleep. I gave it some food, water, whatever. So the dog finally went to sleep. And something hit me and said, you know what? What if I took the dog away from where it lives, and it was just roaming, whatever, right? So I went through my phone and I looked at the list of addresses I drove to during Uber, and I said, oh, that's the street. So I got up in the morning, put a leash on the dog, drove him right back to that street, right? Sat the dog down. This dog is blind. I sat the dog down at the beginning of that street, not where I dropped the person off, because I wanted to make sure we didn't miss any houses where the dog could possibly live, right? This dog smelled his way all the way back to where it lived and walked me right to the door. I rang the doorbell. It was a Mexican family, I'll never forget. They opened the door and looked at me and started bawling, crying. In the door, y'all. I kid you not. The grandmama came out, gave me a hug right there in the kitchen. Wow, man. I never forget. They gave me a hug in the kitchen and said, we've been looking all over for this dog. And I said, you know what? I was doing Uber and I found it and I got it out the street. I didn't want it to get hit. And they thanked me, man, and everything. And they said, thanks for bringing it back to a street where you got it from. I said, yeah. I said, I thought it probably lived somewhere over here. And she said, the grandmama, she said, you can eat here any day you want. We do cookouts all the time, and we make tacos and stuff. She said you could come here and eat anytime you want. So if y'all see this video, I've been craving some Mexican food. Hey, holla at me. Send me a DM. I drive right over there to eat. But hey, I'll never forget that story, y'all. Unbelievable.